those that are in retirement, they're already living it and trying to understand it. It's not an area that the market focused on, quite frankly, for a long time, just because they were accumulating. The largest cohort was accumulating, follow their path. Now that they are in retirement, there is going to be a much greater need for the planning around the spending of money, the efficiency of portfolios, in the sense that I shouldn't be taking a large lump sum and sticking it in my bank account and spending it over the next 12 months, right? That's dead money sitting in an account that, quite frankly, could be slowly earning you more. And so solving that equation, solving that problem of how do I efficiently remove the money? It's also a tax thing, right? So all of your accounts have tax implications to them. They have, and they have efficiencies in decumulation. And in accumulation, sure, capital gains and, putting things away in retirement accounts to defer the tax implication. But now we're at the other end, where those taxable accounts have a greater efficiency than the registered accounts, which are now 100% tax. So it's almost a change in the thinking, but it's an area of opportunity I think this industry has to really service that client, and to your point, to perhaps reduce the burden of the work that it takes to manage decumulating clients, right? How do I make that a more efficient path? Because we've done all of the work on accumulation, we've done all that efficiency. Now I think there's an opportunity to flip the switch and start to look at that. I believe there's enough people working on the digital engagement for the accumulators, because the accumulation path is quite well trodden. It's now just about the engagement model, the experience that they're building on. I think there's a lot more work that can be done at decumulation. It's an opportunity for consolidation. So for advisors who manage clients' money that may be dispersed at other places, those who can tackle decumulation in a very efficient and simplistic way for clients are likely the consolidators of that money going forward.
Yeah, that really resonates with me, actually, because I worked in the industry for several years before joining CGI, and that was one place that we were really trying to find the sweet spot in, because we had clients that were retiring, and then, of course, they had cash flow needs because they're not getting that paycheck anymore. And so there were instances where sometimes the client would say, okay, you know what, just send me X amount of dollars and this will last me, let's say, 5 months or 6 months, right? Mm-hmm. And it was better to do it that way, because there wasn't really an efficient way to get them the money they needed to them right on time for when they needed it, right? Like there was always this huge process, most of the times that had to... we had to go through to make sure that the right funds were being pulled out from the right account and the right securities were being sold. So I think to that point, if there is a way to make that more efficient, if there's a way to say, oh, you like to get your paycheck on the 1st? Well, you know what? On the 28th of each month, it's going to be there, right? Mm-hmm. And everything's going to be automated. It's going to be streamlined to something we've been talking about, so that it's done very efficiently. It's done in a time-sensitive manner, and everyone's happy. Right. And you really are doing what's best for the client, because you're not pulling all these funds out, which is essentially their need for half the year, right, and just having it sit there and not do anything.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No. I agree. Like I see it personally. My mom does that. That's how she manages her money, and I don't know how else to say it. Or it's like, well, if that keeps you comfortable, then that's the way you should do it. But I do believe there is a huge opportunity to solve that problem. I don't think it's a big issue. I just think it hasn't been addressed yet. And we are seeing decumulation as an ask. So,
for sure. And I think the other piece to your example is the tax efficiency of that, right? So because they've used the retirement plans as a way of deferring, well, the deferral's ending, right? And so, that's right. But nobody wants to pay, as much tax as they want to minimize it legally, and find the best way to do it. And I think that's the secret sauce right now, right?
Yep. And advice on how to take it out of those registered plans, because in some instances you don't want to end up at the end of pulling the money out with a huge amount of your savings stuck in a registered plan, because you're going to pay additional taxes to take more out than need be. So there is a tremendous amount of planning that needs to go into it, but I think it's predominantly math that tools can potentially solve. So.